REITHA, you've gotten your message to Simon, and you've been told that Aaronmere has as much of a story as Jane. What would you like to do?
I have been struggling to talk to him because every time I see him, I just see the vision of him getting his throat slit. But I'm gonna go to him. He should know about this vision.
Yeah, he's a little distracted, playing with a couple of toys.
I'm gonna sit next to him.
He looks up as you sit down.
I missed you.
Yeah, missed you too. Kind of like awkwardly gives you a hug.
I hug him tightly. How'd you get here?
With a lot of difficulty. I went south first. Met a band of nomads in the Outlands. I lived with them for a few months. Learned their ways. Pretty shortly after I joined them, they took the dream writ that I had and burned it. Forced it out of my system. And somehow they determined that our power came from Lissa. But not all of my power was from her. They found a second source. One of the 8. The goddess of creation.
Really? I always knew there was something special about you. And I just tuck his hair behind his ear.
That's part of the problem. They considered me their messiah. I would lead them where they could settle, they could leave their nomadic lifestyle, and while we were traveling, they were attacked by another tribe, slaughtered in the night. We were close to Crestguard, so I stowed aboard a ship and ended up here. Spent a few months begging for food or stealing what I had to survive, and then eventually Jane found me a few weeks ago, and now I'm here.
And no one's tried to hurt you, or?
Not since then, no.
I'm glad they took the dream route from you. I didn't know it was bad for us, or I would have done it. Glad you're okay. I'm gonna ask, what do you do here with the MLF?
Just kind of help out with whatever they need, I guess. Don't really have a full role, none of us do.
They don't make you fight or anything like that?
Not unless I want to.
Okay, well, me and Jane are here, so you don't have to for now, okay? So you stay here. I need you to be extra safe, okay?
Be as safe as I can.
That really doesn't make me feel any better.
What's your passive insight?
17.
He's holding something back.
Aaronmere, between Jane, Lona, and I, we basically raised you. What are you hiding? Don't make me bring Jane.
It's nothing about dying. Not really, anyways.
What? What does that mean?
It's not important yet.
Aaronmere, the whole reason we're in this mess is because a bunch of people lied to us. We don't have to do the same to each other.
I can't tell you what it is, because if I do, you'll try to stop it.
Insight check.
You can make an insight check with disadvantage.
I rolled a 12 plus 7, 19.
He seems to have some notion of his future or fate. You don't know if it's in direct relation to what you saw, but he knows that something is going to happen in the future, and he truly believes that it has to happen.
Nothing is set in stone.
Maybe not. I guess time will tell.
For someone so little, you're a little creepy, Aaronmere, sometimes. We talked about this. Less creepy, okay?
Simon, you're in Louis' workshop. He has just revealed an array of gadgets that you have never seen before in your life. Some that you recognize, but quite a few that you don't.
Finally, some fucking substance in the city. Can you tell me what half these things do before we go?
What do you want to know about? He gestures. You see a couple of small orbs that seem to have some sort of button or trigger on them. A mountain of cloth, essentially. What looks like small clay bricks. A small, wind-up doll. some goggles, and a couple other things that you do recognize. Knives, grappling hooks, the like.
I grab the brick. What is this? And I shake it a little bit.
He, stops your hand. That is volatile and explosive.
Shit. Oh, fuck. Okay. Oh, boy. Okay. He just gingerly puts it back down. Okay. I'm just gonna point now. This is explosives?
It draws in ambient fire mana and expels it forcefully.
I guess if I need a distraction, I can sink the ship. Okay, wow, okay, I look at the cloth, I look at the goggles. These two?
The cloth grabs it and weighs it out, gives it a shake, and eventually stands on a very tall stool, and then jumps off, and you see him float slowly to the ground. Not exactly flying, but fairly close.
Better than what I can do, that's for sure. Wow, okay. And the toy?
He winds it up a little bit and sets it on the ground, and it blinks and looks up at him, and he points to your shoulder, and it runs to you and climbs up your shoulder. Acts like types of familiars that you've seen in the past, but mechanical. It dies out after its wind-up ends.
Whoa, okay. Do I need to feed this thing? No, right?
No, just wind it up when you need to use it. As for the goggles, he hits a switch and it turns dark. Put them on.
Okay. Puts it on.
You put on the goggles and it looks like the lights have been turned back on. You can tell that the lights are still off because there's some weird shadows that aren't there. And then he takes one of the orbs, presses a button, and you see smoke pour out of it. And after a moment, the smoke appears translucent.
Oh, shit, okay.
Hits the light switch again and takes the goggles off.
Shit, this is more than enough than I expected.
I needed something to fill my time after losing my magic.
I'm sorry, you lost your magic? That's a thing?
The death penalty wasn't always enacted.
Forgive me for asking this. This is sensitive, by the way. Forgive me. What the hell did you do to get you magically neutered?
May have caused some small fireworks in the inner city.
You made a bomb.
Sort of. Regardless of what it was, they took a spear to my mana core, and now I can't use mana anymore, so mechanics it is.
I have someone that can maybe help you on that scenario. Maybe?
It's not something that can be fixed, unfortunately. Believe me, I've tried for the past 10 years. He starts picking things up and putting them in a bag. I can't come on the mission, I have other things to take care of, but I'm sure these will come in handy.
I will contact you as soon as, I'll contact you if I'm not dead after this. If you don't hear me in 24 hours, well, it was nice talking to you.
It's a pleasure.
See you soon. I'm going to use the sending stone to call Gil and REITHA, make this a three-way call. Quietly, as he goes through the back alley, she's like, okay, where the fuck are you?
You told me to stay put, so I stayed put.
I will not do an insight check. I don't believe it anyway. Gil, are you on the line?
At base. These guys have a battle map.
I'm gonna move away from my brother and kind of just tell Gil and Simon, hey, so I had a really concerning conversation with my brother just now. I think he might be preparing himself to die, and I don't really want that to happen for kind of obvious reasons.
How old is this kid again?
He's 10. But I'm starting to realize that our lives are kind of fucked up, and I'm sorry for cursing, but I think at this point I have the right. I'm feeling surprisingly calm, but I think at some point it's gonna, overflow. But I just want you guys to know. Thank you. That's my report.
When are you coming back?
I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, you make your way quickly through the alleys and finally make your way back down into the base, and you arrive.
Power walks to where Gil and REITHA would be probably standing around.
Yeah, they're standing around her table looking down at a map. A couple of MLF members have surrounded the table as well and are drawing on the map, making some plans.
Hello, everyone. Alright. So what do we have in this raid we're about to do, resource-wise?
We have magic. That is our resource.
I mean, in the quieter sense.
Do you just assume all magic is loud?
I just slowly look at REITHA.
I can be quiet because of magic. Remember when I made you invisible, Simon?
I'm going to assume they have something that can find you people. Yes, I'm using the term you people.
Yeah, that's because you're jealous you don't have any magic.
Alright, so I have a couple of things I have on the table should you magic folk have an option to apply them. My idea was I'm going to go in first and scout out the area. Find out what the hell is happening.
I'm going with you.
I need you to be in sniper position.
Verona can stay with me because she can do damage on the ground. I can stay out with the MLF. Gil can do sniper stuff. Simon can do sneaky stuff. I can send Mouse with them so we can keep an eye on him.
The approach I'm assuming we're going to do, because this is either, 1, a trap for you people, and I point at the mages, or 2, this is a trap for, specifically for her, points at REITHA.
I'm sorry, what trap are you referring to?
I've skipped the part. This is a setup.
Who exactly would have set this up?
He slowly goes through his fingers. The Null Battalion, the Church, Galanor.
Do you know if they're in charge of all this?
I'm gonna have to assume so. I don't know if the Church is that involved, but they are.
This is the same church that killed the royalty.
It's a subsection.
Regardless of whether it's a trap or not, we can't just leave innocent people.
I wasn't going to say we're gonna lead to just say this. We have to be smart about this and minimize any risks on our end.
We've already accepted we can't save all of them.
I do believe we can, but we have to do this right. One of the things I've learned in my profession, is that it's not about winning the fight. It's about making the other guy quit the fight.
Let me make one thing very clear. You have not been here. We do not trust you. If you want our trust, stick to our plan. Save 10. Not enough to arouse suspicion, but a success in a city like this. We know there are a total of 25 prisoners.
How many guards?
15 to 20. If this is a trap, like you say, they will probably be more heavily armed than we initially planned for, but we can adjust for that.
Can I do something real quick? As they're talking about their plan and everything, can I do Eyes of the Beholder, the captain of the guard, of the Null Guard or whatever? Can I see them right now? Can I use that ability?
You haven't seen the face of the captain of the guard, so you don't actually know what he looks like. You do have to have a general idea of what they look like.
Then I wish to do Eyes of the Beholder through the priest.
You look into the mirror and you see a couple of members of the Null Guard. You count 4 of them, as well as another person who, it's clear he's in some of the same gear as the rest of the soldiers, but there's something different about him. It's clear he has some level of importance, probably the leader of that small group. You also see 6 regular militiamen, like you saw at the coronation that took out the Royal Guard, as well as 2 people that seem to pretty openly be mages. You have not seen them before, but from what you're seeing through the eyes of the priest, they're looking at almost the exact same map as you are. You can't get too many details, but they're talking about some sort of plan of coming in from the city.
Yeah, I catch myself at the table and I look at these people, blinking my eyes a little bit. Okay, I just saw them planning out to the same exact map layout. There were several of the guards, the priest I saw before, and 2 mages.
And you know all of this how? I'm assuming it has something to do with that room.
Yeah, it's a new trick I've picked up. It's not exactly casting magic like everyone else, but apparently this is what I get for dying.
And we'll try to account for that. Quick in and out, without being seen.
Have you seen these type of mages before? I'm very confused why there's mages working with them, and I described the mages I saw.
They sound like part of the Brotherhood.
The what?
The Arcane Brotherhood, the ones that attacked the execution the other day.
Are they working together?
It looked like it. They were not held hostage. They were plotting.
You said this was a trap for this organization, right?
It's a trap. It's a trap. I just don't know who it is for.
How big of an issue does this cause for you guys and your plan? Are we still good?
Like we said, we're not going to leave any innocents out to die.
I'm just gonna let you know now, and I point at the city. They will have people waiting in the city.
Simon? I show him my mana suppression cuff. Is it time?
I just look at you and just say, I choose violence today. Go.
With all of your preparations made, your group sets out to the docks. You arrive, you get into position, and Simon, you are first up.
Simon's going to, he's been focusing in his mind, he's remembering his training, and he's been doing some weird hand motions, just like keeping himself limber, and then he turns to the group and says, okay, I'm gonna go first. Hopefully no one's gonna see me. You should hear from me soon. And I'm going to stealth, and the total result I have with all of the knickknacks I have is a 40.
You step into the shadows. To everybody, it seems as though you've turned invisible. You look around and you recognize the same orbs floating around that you saw the first time you went to the Shadow Realm. The memories of those that have left.
I look around, I take in the area. I say, like the legend states, let's use this. And he's going to slowly go through towards the ship, and he's going to watch, observe, gather information, and whisper this information through mouse.
Give me 2 perception checks. One for the memories that you see, and the other for what you see normally.
For memories, 23. The other one's 21.
Within the memories, one stands out. It seems a little bit fainter than the others, but you see what looks like some slaves outside of the cages talking to some of the Null Battalion. You look a little bit deeper into the memory. You can't make out what they're saying, but it seems as though within some of the cages there may be spies. You're not sure which cages, but they are there. As for what you see around the camp, you see just about 2 guards around each fire. Most of them seem to be guards that were hired by the merchant Elvis Prawn. You do not see any of the Null Battalion, any of the mages, or any of the Faith Militant.
I would like to perceive for any magical traps like the alarm spell.
Sure, give me an Arcana check.
16?
It does not seem as though there are any magical wards of any kind on the cages.
How secure do I feel at this moment? Because I know everything's kind of in the open.
There's enough cover that you can hide and stay out of the direct line of vision of the guards.
Is it possible to pick locks but make it silent enough where it doesn't notify any of the people in the cages?
With a high enough check, yes.
I would like to attempt this on each cage as I go through the motions, going through the shadows, keeping away from the guards and any extra eyes around me.
I will cast guidance through mouse on Simon to give an extra d4 on top.
So I go through the first cage and it's a 30.
The lock silently opens.
I'm also looking visually in through the cage, and I'm trying to guess which cage contains the sleeper agents.
Let's go with an insight check.
19.
You go down cage by cage, unlocking each of them. With your insight check, you believe that there's a sleeper agent in cages 2 and 5. You're not sure if there are more, but you are fairly certain of those 2 at the very least.
As I was going through each cage, did I count how many people were in there?
Exactly 5.
The plan after I kind of unlocked the cages and give the layout to the mages, what was the next step they wanted me to take care of, if anything?
Now that you've unlocked the cages, it's a matter of choosing 10 and getting them out. So essentially choosing 2 cages to empty out.
I'm going to go for the furthest one, 1 and 3. I'm going to try to guide these people out of here.
Open the door, you put a finger to your lips, and they slowly follow you out. You slowly guide them around the edge, into the water to hide footprints, and up the coastline, and eventually you get to the edge of the city.
Okay, as soon as Simon reaches the coast with the 5, I'm gonna get out of Mouse's head and clock in with my team of mages.
They nod. 2 of them cast invisibility on themselves and make their way down to the other cage. They open the door of the cage, and 4 of the 5 slaves get out. The 5th one they did not realize has a broken leg. And as they are moving him out, they knock over one of the barrels. The 2 guards at the closest fire look over and see the door open. One of them runs to the middle table and begins to ring a bell.